Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a review on the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop foundation. So many of you guys have mentioned me on Twitter, slid in my DMs on Instagram, commented down below that you wanted me to review this foundation. And even though I am late, I am finally here with the review. So if you guys want to see and hear my first thoughts and impressions on this foundation as well as the primer, then just stay tuned. So first I'm going to prime my skin, and I will be using the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop matte primer. I usually like to test matte primers on their own without any makeup on top to see if they actually keep me matte, because sometimes when a product is keeping you matte, you don't know if it's the foundation, if it's the primer, or if it's the combination of the two. So maybe later on this week when I have to go to class and I don't feel like wearing a full face anyway, I'll just wear the primer by itself to see if it controls my oils. So let's see, I'm squeezing some out and it's kind of stuck. I don't know if it's because it's been sitting for a while or if that's just the consistency of it. Of all the reviews I watched, I don't remember anyone saying that they had an issue with the texture or the consistency of this primer. Like, so far it feels like so thick, almost to the point where I feel like I put like some Elmer's glue on my face, and you guys know like how it feels when the glue dries down. Like, that's how my face is starting to feel. It doesn't feel sticky, but it just feels like something is sitting on my skin. It doesn't feel like my skin is absorbing it that well either, but I don't really know. Now, even though I do not really care for the consistency, y'all, my face is already super matte. I don't think I have ever had a primer that has made me this matte before. Like, this is insane, to the point where, so looking like right here, the primer turned white. At first I thought it was my skin, like, just, you know, like being dry, but it looks like the primer itself is turning white in like certain spots on my face. I don't know what's causing that, but it's a little strange. And then right here, it's like a little crusty. And I don't know if I got a bad batch of this primer, because like I said, this consistency is really weird. You guys can see how thick it is to the point where the actual bottle is just kind of like dented in and stuck that way, because the product just will not budge. So I think I may see if I can go exchange this for another one and then just test it out again to see if I got a bad one or if this is just how it is. Now moving on to what you guys are here for, the foundation. I picked up the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop full coverage foundation in the shade Mahogany, and it says it has up to 24 hours of wear, which is insane, and it does have a matte finish. So let me go ahead and shake this up. And as you guys can see, as time passed, it's like getting more and more white. Looking at my face, it kind of reminds me of when people use like that milk of magnesia on their face and it like turns white in certain areas. Like, that's the vibe I'm getting right now from this. So I did have a hard time trying to shade match myself, just because there were so many shades and undertones to choose from, and then the lighting in those stores is always just kind of off to me. So I settled on Mahogany, and I asked this girl that worked there, I was like, what do you think? And I compared like two shades, and she was like, I don't know, I think that's like your perfect shade. But I could tell she didn't know what she was talking about, because her foundation did not even match her. So I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm just gonna have to take a chance on this color and hopefully it works. But like, just looking at it, it looks very close to what I wear from Maybelline, which is what, 338 Spicy Brown. It doesn't look too far off. So I'm just gonna put this on my skin. It doesn't feel like super thick to touch, and just like a normal regular like foundation smell to it. And I'm gonna take a brush. You guys know I like using a sponge to blend in my foundation, but I want to get the best coverage possible, especially with my scarring being at its worst. I want to make sure everything is covered up, and I want to see if one layer of this product will do the job. The brush that I'm using is my F82 round kabuki brush by Sigma. will say that I feel like it's drying down pretty quickly, which isn't a terrible thing, but you do have to blend kind of fast. Like my wrist, well, not even my wrist, my arm is like hurting right now because I'm having to blend so fast. So I know in the future to definitely work in sections. I feel like I could have possibly gone a shade deeper. I'm gonna add some in here where I may have missed a spot. Definitely go under my eyes a little bit. I usually don't put too much foundation under my eye because I put concealer there anyway. But today I'm gonna be a little extra. And if you guys see, it did cover up my scarring pretty good, but not 100%. So I'm just gonna add a little bit more product to that area. And then over here, same thing. It covered it, but not completely. So right off the bat, you guys, I don't think I have ever used a foundation that has dried down this matte before. Like, I don't really see any shine on my face aside from where my skin is actually peeking through. So like right in here I see shine, but I didn't cover that area with much foundation. And then kind of right around my brows where I use a different concealer. But this is super freaking matte. Like, it's crazy. And you know, I always thought that I preferred matte foundations over dewy ones, but considering that I've never used a true matte foundation compared to this, I don't really know how I'm feeling because it's like clinging to my dry spots a bit, and my little bumps and stuff seem a bit more noticeable since it is a flat matte. But beyond that, like, I'm extremely impressed. I wonder how is it going to hold up because this is insane. So now as far as the shade of this foundation, I don't think that mahogany is it for me. I'm gonna have to like go back to the store and play around a little bit with the shades because some of them, like, just because it was a lower number doesn't mean that it was like a lighter shade. Like, let's say, I don't know what the number is for this one specifically, but let's say like 20 and then take 25, and just because 20 is a lower number doesn't mean that it's necessarily lighter because the undertones come into play, and that had an effect on the colors of the foundation. So I'm gonna have to go into the store and really just play around with them for a minute because mahogany I don't think is it for me. Maybe when it starts to cool off a bit more, my skin lightens up, possibly, but I don't think that this is it for me. I just want to throw that out there before you guys attack me down below and say that's not your shade. I know. But now I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of my face. I'm just going to take my LA Girl Pro Concealer. I saw a concealer test online where it like tested like 15 to 20 different brands of concealer, and after several hours this one had the least amount of oils produced from it after just kind of like sitting on a paper towel. And so of course our skin is different from a paper towel, but as far as that test goes, compared to other concealers, this one did break down the least. So considering that I do want to see how matte this foundation will stay throughout the day, and at the same time I still want my face to be complete, I'm using this one because I feel like it'll, like I said, break apart the least out of all the brands of concealers that I do own. Maybe someday NYX will add me to their PR list. The people who receive this like foundation and PR are so lucky, because considering like how many shades there were and then like all the undertones being different, I just feel like it's really not difficult, but it can be a little challenging to pinpoint your exact shade. And I know a lot of you guys were waiting for me to do this video so you could figure out what shade you are, and I am so sorry that I can't even figure out my own shade. I will say This so far looks very nice. I think I'm gonna take a trip to Ulta after this video, y'all, and go get another shade of this and just keep mahogany and then go a shade darker, which I don't know if it'll be the next shade in line or if I have to like skip around. But y'all, I'm just liking, I'm even liking how this concealer is like looking with the foundation. And y'all, I have been wanting to find a good matte foundation for a while because like my Maybelline FitMe, it works, I love it, but I get tired of using it like every day and in every tutorial. And I always say, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But sometimes I do like to change things up. So if I go to Ulta and I do find my shade, y'all, it's gonna be on for real. So I don't know where my camera cut off at, but all the products that I listed will be down below in the description box. I used only a little bit of concealer and a little bit of setting powder over that concealer because I didn't want to manipulate the foundation too much. It is super matte and I didn't want to use too many products, especially products that were going to break down on my face. So I just used a little bit like right in here, and then I also added a little bit of powder to bronze and chisel my face, but nothing too over the top. And to finish off my face, I'm just going to go in with a little bit of highlight. Okay, you guys, so I just applied my lip color and also did my mascara to just finish out my face. So looking at myself, I feel like I look really pretty. I mean, it's just a combination of all my makeup together. But speaking specifically about the foundation, you guys, I am loving this finish. Like I mentioned several times throughout the video, I'm going to say it again, it is clinging to my bumps. Little small bumps that I have on the sides of my face, and it also cling to like some dry spots on my face as well, especially really bad right here. It looks like it's almost about to start flaking up. But if I pull the mirror back a bit and, you know, at a distance where my vision starts to blur because, you know, my eyes are getting bad from being on the computer so much, but now that the mirror is far back and I can't see my bumps and dry spots, you know, as well as I could with the mirror up here, overall my face looks flawless. Like it looks beautiful, and I don't see any shine or anything like that aside from, like I said, right here in my brows where I used concealer, and then of course the glow that I added from the highlighter. But it is a complete 100% matte finish, so I'm very excited to see how this holds up. Now, that primer still has my face feeling a little tight. I couldn't think of the word earlier, but that's what happened to my skin. When I put that primer on my skin, it really made my skin feel tight. So I don't know if it was because it was just sucking up all the moisture, and that's kind of what happened there. But I do feel like, you know, moving my face around, it doesn't feel super comfortable. But I look so pretty that, you know, I could care less. So right now it's about 2:30 in the afternoon. I'm gonna come back around maybe 10:30 tonight. That'll give us 8 hours of wear, and I feel like that's a good amount of time. That's usually how long we're normally at work or at school. I'm gonna come back and tell you guys how this foundation holds up. I'm about to go out and run some errands, do some cleaning around my house, all types of stuff. So I'm gonna be moving around a bit, and we're gonna see how well this foundation holds up. Okay guys, I am back to update you on how this foundation has held up over the last 6 hours. I didn't quite make it to the full 8 hours, not because the foundation couldn't hold up, but because I could not hold up. I am exhausted. This entire day has been kind of off for me, and so I'm just ready to just shut it down. But I did want to make sure that I come back and update you guys on everything that's going on with this foundation. So looking at my face, I think I still look pretty good. I do see some shine right in here, down my nose and right here in my forehead, and those are the areas where I applied that LA Girl Pro concealer. So of course I said that it is pretty good at not breaking completely apart, but it did break down just a little bit because the areas where there is no concealer, like here, kind of around this area over here, there's like no shine, no oil, so it stayed pretty freaking matte. I'm definitely gonna have to be on a hunt for a concealer that can hold up like this foundation does, because it's amazing how matte it is and how matte it has actually stayed over the last 6 hours. So I did spend a little time outside with this foundation on. I walked around downtown a little bit and it was about 92 degrees outside, so pretty warm, and it still held up very nicely. So just looking at my face, I do have a few things I want to point out about this foundation. The first thing, which I'm sure you guys probably noticed, is that the color of this foundation has completely changed. Earlier, you can definitely tell that that shade that I picked, I mean, it could work, but it wasn't the best fit for me. And now looking at my face, I can definitely tell this foundation has oxidized. It definitely looks closer to my skin tone now. I don't know how long it took it to get to this point of oxidation, so I'm definitely gonna have to wear this again sometime this week to see about how long does it take to oxidize, and that way I'll know if I really need to pick up another shade of this or not. Now looking at myself close up, right in here, it looks like I'm having some flaking, like the product is just kind of like peeling off. I am creasing a bit in here, but not as bad as I normally crease, and I didn't set this like area around my mouth like I normally would, and I usually crease worse than this, so that's a good sign. Over here, literally right across from where I'm having like the flaking and peeling here, it's happening right in here. So I don't know what the deal is with that, but you know. And then around my nose, it looks like the foundation is kind of separated. I don't know if that has to do with that concealer I put there too doing that, but I do have this like spot around my nose where, can you guys see that, like right in there where it's separated a bit. And then right here on my forehead in the very center where I was having problems with it when I was first filming this video, is starting to flake and peel right here as well. And I don't know how well that's showing up on camera for you guys, but I can definitely see my skin underneath that. So interesting. On a scale of 1 to 5, I honestly give this foundation, I'm gonna give it a 4. And the reason why I'm scoring it so high is because this claims to be a matte foundation, and it is definitely that. Like, I have never used a foundation that is this matte before, and so I know just from how matte it is how long lasting it could possibly be. So usually when a company says up to 24 hours, I'm like, oh, you're BSing me. But I really feel like this may be able to hold up for 24 hours. I'm never going to wear foundation that long, I don't think. But if I needed to, then this would definitely be my go-to. I'm also giving it the high of a ranking because it does come in 45 shades with so many different undertones. Now, for me personally, I love saying that, but then in the same breath, I also get frustrated because it's always difficult for me to pinpoint my shade because I'm not the best at that. Like, I have trouble too. So I was worried about this foundation looking horrible on me, but like I said, it did oxidize down a bit. I still feel like I may try another shade, but then again, I don't know. It's really going to depend on when I watch this footage back to see how I'm really looking, because for some reason how I look in person is never coming across on camera. Now the reason why I couldn't give it that 5th star is because it is, like I said, doing some type of peeling or breaking apart here, and then right on my forehead. I don't know if I needed to set those areas or what. I wanted to kind of see how this foundation just did on its own without powder on top, and it held up pretty nicely without powder. So I'm thinking, like, if I really do my face, set it with powder, use a good setting spray that it probably won't budge. So overall, like I said, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. The price point on this I think is $14.99, around that price, which is pretty high for a drugstore brand foundation. But for what you get, like the qualities of this foundation and what it actually does and is, I don't think that price sounds as bad as it did to me before I actually tried this foundation. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I do want to apologize if my energy seems down in this entire video. You guys, I have just been having like the weirdest day. So I'm gonna try to get some rest, rejuvenate, and hopefully, you know, get myself back on track. Nevertheless, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I hope that you did get something helpful out of it. Any questions, comments, or concerns you have, leave them down below. I like to hang out in the comment section with you guys, and as always, I will see you in my next video.